This video will be about common misconceptions and myths about rent-to-own options in North Texas in 2025. Myth number one, and the most common myth that I hear about is, can you find me a cheap rent-to-own option? Honey, there are no cheap rent-to-own options in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. Although define cheap, I would say that if you have less than $1,900, you're basically done. You're pretty much screwed. Um, DV Homes might have a couple of locations way out in the sticks, maybe Greenville, maybe something, older homes, beaten up homes. But overall, for a good rent to own property, I would say if you don't feel comfortable with 25, 22, 23, 25, $2,700 monthly payments, the rent to own option is probably not going to be a good option for you. Any kind of ownership option is probably not going to be a very good option for you unless you're taking over somebody's existing monthly payment, which is a whole different ownership structure. Myth number two, with rent to own, the monthly payment that I make to my landlord go toward the purchase of the house. Completely false. Your landlord is going to keep 100% of your payment unless you're working with DV Homes. With DV Homes, you have an opportunity to select a saving plan in which your 100% of your rental payment still goes toward your landlord, never to be seen again. But you do have a saving plan and you can contribute an additional amount on top of your rent toward the saving plan so you can save up for your down payment. But under Texas law, your monthly payment cannot go toward your purchase of the house. You will have to qualify for the purchase of the house with a traditional lender. Myth number three, anybody can qualify for a rent to own. Completely incorrect in most cases. There is going to be more scrutiny for a rent to own than if you try to rent a traditional house. So a lower credit scores probably won't go. People with a lot of baggage, when I say baggage, negative baggage in their credit report probably will not go. People who are running away have million lawsuits against them, probably not go. You have to be in a position to qualify for a traditional loan within 1 to 2 years after taking possession of the house and starting your rent program for the rent to own program to make any sense for you. If you can qualify for a traditional loan for the amount of the house, let's just say the house is 400. If you cannot qualify for $400,000 house loan now, ask the lender what it would take to qualify for a loan for that house. If the lender says you don't have enough income to qualify for such a house, it means rent to own will not help you at all. You can rent till you're blue in your face, but you cannot own that house because ownership does not come from rent to own program. Ownership comes from having a lender who will issue you a loan for the amount of whatever that house price. So you cannot rent to own your way from, a low monthly payment to an expensive neighborhood. Doesn't happen. You can do it because you can rent, but you cannot buy. And if you cannot buy, then you just as well rent somewhere else or just simply rent. That touches on the next topic, that if I do rent to own, I can qualify for a big, beautiful home in an area that I wouldn't otherwise afford. Quite the opposite if you rent to own, because rent to own is more expensive than renting and more expensive than straight up purchasing in most cases. You're more likely to qualify for a much smaller home than you thought you would, not in as good neighborhood as you thought you would, especially if you go for big programs like DV Homes. They have a very limited stock, very limited number of rent to own opportunities, and many, many, many people who are trying to apply for those homes. So you're more likely to end up in a smaller, older, dinkier home than if you had enough credit and down payment to just purchase a home. Another misconception is that I can start renting to own without down payment. I do not know if that's possible. I've never heard of such a thing. So if you are completely broke and you don't have, let's just say, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 dollars to your name, then you still have some work to do because people are just not going to trust you with ownership or close to being owners of the house. They're not going to trust you to let you into the house if you're dead broke. People just don't like dealing with dead broke people. Get over it. It's unfair. It's not pretty, but that's the reality of life. Nobody wants to deal with a dead broke person. And nobody's going to give them a keys to their house. If it's a rental, it's different. You don't have such a good relationship. You don't have such a deep relationship between you and the seller. But if you are actually trying to buy the home, they would be constantly worried about whether or not you'll be able to complete the rent to own process if you don't have much money to your name right now. What are other myths? Sometimes they come up with people saying, "Can I only have like oh, they say I have money now, but I'm on Social Security, I'm getting disability, and blah 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 blah, but I have $20,000. Can I go ahead and do rent to own? I got the inheritance, I got the car accident settlement, blah blah blah." No, you cannot. So a rent to own program is not about renting, it's about owning. And to own a property after you finish renting it, you will need to qualify for a loan. So if the first thing that you need to do to qualify for rent to own or to wrap your head around to rent to own is to go to a lender. And if you need to, I can give you really good lenders and ask them, with my current income, what could I qualify for in terms of a loan? If I cleaned up my credit and resolved my outstanding balances on credit cards, they'll tell you. Let's just say they will tell you you can qualify for 250. And you say, well, 250 is not good enough. I need 400. Get more income. Figure out how to get more income. You will not be able to resolve the issue between this gap between what your current income can qualify you for and how that you need by simply trying to do rent to own. The only solution is to qualify for more income. Last but not least, there are some beautiful people out there sitting on Facebook just waiting for me to come and offer me their house as a rent to own opportunity with very low down payment. And all I need to do is to submit my first month's payment. And those people are just jumping all over me to give me their home as a rent to own. Also very unlikely. Rent to own opportunities are extremely rare. Those people who have genuine rent to own opportunities, they're not sitting online, they're not sitting on Facebook, and they're not looking for people to hunt for. They are probably already have multiple applications. And chances are they have pretty high scrutiny. They need down payment, they need the paperwork to be properly done. So if somebody approaches you online and offers you a rent-to-own opportunity, immediately go to me, Elena Garrett, or to somebody like me and say, can you check the situation out? Because I think I'm dealing with a rent-to-own scammer. I think that is it for now. If I can think of anything else, I'll create another video. In the meantime, my name is Elena Garrett and I'm a realtor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I specialize in rent-to-own, seller financing, taking over other people's mortgages in order to afford living in, our beautiful North Texas. I don't know what else to say. Stick around for the next video. The next video is going to be price ranges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my MLS, my own my program, the program that realtors work in, and show you at different price ranges what kind of homes are available with rent to own, where they're located geographically within the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and how many of them and where they're clustered. Like maybe in Forney, we'll have 3 or 4 options, versus Mesquite, maybe 1 or 2 options, versus Irving, maybe no options. But it varies every day, every week. But overall, some tendencies are clear and consistent. We're going to look at those, so stick around for the next video, and I will see you a little bit later.